Hello and welcome to Disrespect the 1v1. Today I am joined by Ellesmere, a world-renowned Holy Paladin or something. Hello Ellesmere, how are you doing?
Hey, what's up, Ted?
And also his partner in crime and also his father, Nerf. Nerf, how are you doing?
Oh, Tettleton.
We are going to be recording Disrespect the 1v1, and basically the rules are as follows. Each contestant gets a sentence and they'll stand for that statement or oppose the statement depending on which side they are going to be positioned for. Opponents can interject with objections at any point. Basically, you're just going to shout out objection, and the person who is presenting the point will have to stop immediately, and then I will either award a point or we will listen to your objection and I will determine at my own discretion if it is valid or not. And you only get one of those objections per round. Then the opponent also gets a retort after the initial point is posed. Points are handed out by me. It is to be known that I don't really like Holy Paladins, so keep that in mind, Ellesmere. And then
That's bias. What the?
Those are easy points.
I make the rules. I'm sorry. And then the last rule is contestants with the most points go on to the Defend the Indefensible round, where we are going to declare a champion. Ellesmere, you are going to be presenting first, and your topic is Paladins are not overpowered, other healers just aren't using their kits properly.
Look, everybody always talks about how overpowered Holy Paladins are, but the realistic thing is that every healer can do a lot of damage. Every healer has legendaries, has different types of covenants that they can use. Look at Resto Shaman. Kyrian Resto Shaman right now does almost as much, if not more damage in 90% of dungeons than Venthyr Holy Paladin does. The only difference is that Venthyr Holy Paladin does that damage in burst windows, so it looks way more dramatic and way more exciting. Now, the other problem is that Holy Paladin actually has to use up all of its resources in order to do damage. Every cooldown it has, if we're doing damage with those cooldowns, we're not healing with those, except for Ashen Hollow in that one window. But Ashen Hollow is only a 30-second window. There are 3.5 minutes of misery and pain after every Ashen Hollow cast where we are unable to do anything. We have to come up with the most unique ways of being able to handle incoming damage profiles, because we have to spend our Ashen Hollow for damage, or else all of our DPS players are going to yell and complain that we're not doing their job for them.
Another point?
Objection.
Okay, an objection?
You don't have to come up with unique ways. In Season 1, you had the Moon can heal for you outside of the Ashen Hollow windows. Holy Paladins didn't actually heal.
And you wouldn't consider having another player have to heal for them a unique way of healing? No, you don't think that's like the Paladin is just to do
you're
damage.
Just all you're doing
no. All you're doing is highlighting all you're doing is highlighting the problems of Holy Paladin even further. That without an off healer, we couldn't even heal dungeons. That's how weak we are from a healing standpoint.
No, the Moonkin was healing because the Paladin was doing more damage than the Moonkin, so it would be more smart to have the Moonkin
it's not
heal.
my fault that Moonkins couldn't do damage outside of their 4-second window.
No. I'll allow it. Good objection, Nerf. Keep going, Ellesmere.
Look, all I'm saying is that the fact that Holy Paladins need other players to heal for them, because that's how weak we are outside of our 30-second window of burst, is a huge problem, and it makes healing as a Venthyr Holy Paladin very, very difficult. Now, if you're just going for raw damage, Resto Shamans have way better healing. They have better AoE damage in the form of Earthquake Legendary. They have better AoE damage in the form of Vesper Totem Legendary as Kyrian.
But there are so many things. They have to use a legendary. They have to use a specific legendary just to do damage.
You've already used up your objection. You've used up your objection. You'll have time for a counterpoint later, Nerf. Continue on.
While I agree with Nerf's invalid objection, Holy Paladins have to be Venthyr, and being Venthyr locks us into a really terrible playstyle where we have to run less optimal talents. We have to run all this type of stuff that basically renders us useless outside of our cooldown windows. And our cooldown windows are few and far between. People like to think about Holy Paladin in the way it used to be with Ineffable Truth, where we just had wings constantly. But we spend 60% of our time now outside of our healing windows. So we have to utilize Bop, Devo, Sack, Bubble, all these different unique utilities that we bring, which is very important. But to the average player, healing as a Venthyr Holy Paladin is actually significantly more difficult than healing as most other specs in dungeons. Look at Resto Shaman, look at Priest, look at pretty much anything other than Mistweaver. I'm sorry, Mistweaver, but no one's gonna fight for you. Anyways, my point is that Holy Paladin is a Venthyr Holy Paladin is a very, very difficult spec to play sometimes in Mythic Plus, especially in a pug scenario. The biggest reason why it looks so good is because it's utilized in these super coordinated groups. So the average player looks at how they're being performed in World First Rating, in MDI, in all of these very, very, very specifically coordinated environments with the top players in the world. And they say, oh my God, this is super OP. But the reality is that that doesn't translate well to 98% of the player base who is doing keys at a level and with a group that's coordination level is lower, to the point where they don't have the ability to min-max Ashen Hollow the way that it should be used. So
start wrapping it up.
Okay. So my point is that yes, it looks really strong. It is really strong, but it's only strong in specific circumstances and when played in the right area and by the right people. Or else it has a huge amount of weak points that can end up screwing you over way harder than any other healer.
Okay. Interesting points, Ellesmere. I've awarded you 5 points for that. Nerf, you got 1 point for your successful objection there. Nerf, now you have to pose the counterpoint to Paladins are not overpowered. Other healers just aren't using their kits properly, and make Ellesmere regret everything he just said.
Well, you talked a lot about Venthyr Holy Paladin, but you're always telling me that Kyrian Holy Paladin does just as much damage, and Kyrian Paladin would have the toolkit with their Covenant ability to heal the groups, right, every minute, or even lower once they unlock the final soulbound trait of Mechanicos. And then Paladin toolkit is just superior to every other healer, right? They have a raid-wide
Objection.
Raid-wide
You
CD
cannot say that Holy Paladin toolkit is by far the best in M+ when Resto Druid is sitting in the wing with the most insane utility you have ever seen from any singular healer. I will agree that their throughput and their damage, and there are other weaknesses that Resto...
Part of the toolkit, no?
I agree that it is part of their toolkit, but you cannot say that Holy Paladin has the best toolkit when Resto Druids bring a billion things. Battle Res Suit, they counter every affix. Their style of healing is better for M+. Unfortunately, their tuning isn't great right now, but in terms of raw toolkit, it does not get better than Resto Druid.
Name another healer that has a full immunity. Name another healer that has a full immunity.
I will declare Nerf a successful point for that. Good rebuttal. All right, no more objection, Ellesmere. Continue on, Nerf.
You have full immunity. You have a physical immunity for anyone in your party, and then you have lay on hands. You have Aura Mastery, Crusader Aura for when you die, and you can come back to the group faster.
Ooh, another point. Keep going.
What is 20% mount speed?
Keep going. Don't literally you've had your chance to talk. Keep going, Nerf. Put him in the dirt.
In raid Aura Mastery, Diva Aura is like a huge non-positional requirement for raid CD, right? Priests have their barrier, but you have to be in specific spots for the barrier.
Okay, another point.
For Diva Aura, you can be much further, and then Paladin has more damage than every other healer. As you can see, why did Echo bring there's a World First skill that brought 4 Holy Paladins to Guardian, right? 4 Holy Paladins.
Another point.
What other healer are you gonna bring 4 of in any raid environment? That's how busted that class is.
But that's only in a world for. I can't. All right.
No more rebuttal.
All right.
All right. So that was a really good round by Nerf. Currently, Ellesmere is leading with 6 points. Nerf has 5. Next round, Nerf, you are going to be defending first. And the stance you're going to be taking is the reasons why there aren't more tanks is because DPS and healers are annoying.
That's true. Have you ever joined a pug Mythic Plus as a tank? The first thing they ask you is link MDT route. Like, why does a tank have to be the one that has to link MDT route? And then you if you happen to have an MDT route, you link one, and you have to consider, okay, what is in my group? Do we have a rogue? Can we use shroud? And then, can we rely on our group to have invis potions if we don't have shroud? And then now you're gonna have to have like 10 different MDTs for what group con you join.
Another point.
In the pug, and then when you finally get started, the pugs, maybe your MDT route is not up to their specs. Then they're gonna just pull stuff randomly for you, like, oh, I have my CDs for this. The tank always has to play around the DPS and the healer. Like,
Another point.
I have big CDs or I don't. Can we do a cooldown pack? Like, it's just catering to DPS and healers all the time, and then the healers are too busy doing damage. They don't even heal you, so you have to play a class like Guardian Druid where you don't need healing at all.
Another point.
You're just playing around these other classes, and then in the raid environment, you're just doing the resident sleeper jobs, and the DPS and the healers, they just get to have fun in the fight while you're just standing there looking at the feet of a boss.
Points.
Okay, rebuttal.
An objection from Ellesmere?
He is not actually answering the original question. The original question asserted that the only reason people don't tank is because DPS and healers are annoying. He is simply talking about how depressing it is to play tank.
You have to play around the DPS and healer. And
because they're annoying.
That's not them being annoying.
Yes,
all
it is.
Your objection.
That's just being a good player.
Your objection. No points for the objection.
Playing around other people's cooldown. You don't think healers and DPS do the same thing with tanks? You don't think I play around Guardian Druid's fucking 3-minute cooldown that's insanely overpowered? You don't think we built routes around your specific cooldown? Everybody plays around cooldowns. That's not specific to tanks playing around DPS.
You don't have cooldowns that you 3 minutes and 30 seconds outside of Ashen Hollow. You're doing nothing. You just said it yourself. What are you doing?
What about Guardian Druid? What do you think you do? Every 3 minutes we pulled a massive pull, and what did we do in between those pulls? Little baby pulls, because you would fall over otherwise.
No, but the Guardian Druid has to do those massive pulls to appease the DPS. Otherwise, they complain that they're not doing big damage. That's
not true. We do those big pulls. We do those big pulls in order to chest keys.
That is part of the problem. It's the DPS. The DPS are always complaining that they need to do big damage. Like, oh man, my combust is up. Can we pull big? I have Incarn. Can we pull big here? Or your Paladin is like, I have Ashen Hollow. This pull is not good enough for my Ashen Hollow. Can we do a bigger one? It's like, you're just playing around the DPS. What if I just want to do, like, I want to do a casual Mythic Plus run. Like, sir, this is a +5. Why do we need to do a big pull here? Like, I'm just trying to do my keys on my ult or something. But the DPS and healers, they're always complaining.
I'll say that was a successful objection, but then Nerf also had a really good rebuttal as well, so more points.
And a tank, you're playing one tank to 4 DPS and healer in the Mythic Plus setting, right? You're always outnumbered. They're always complaining, and they're always going to get their way because there's.
Why are you lumping DPS and healer into them? There's one healer to every 3 DPS and tank. I could use the exact same logic.
You've already used your objection.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
Wrap it up, Nerf. Yeah. Wrap it up, Nerf.
So in the end, when you're just one tank and you just join a pub, and then there's always people complaining, you don't want to tank. They're always going to flame you for something. It's always the tank that has to take the fall, because you have to link the MDT route, and then if it's not good, and then you fail, then they blame the tank, right? Even if somebody else pulled something different, they blame the tank because the tank couldn't pick up the threat or survive.
Okay. Good one. All right, so all in all, you have 12 points. Ellesmere, you have 7, and you have to defend the point of the reason why there aren't more tanks is because DPS and healers are annoying.
Look, I'm not here to argue that DPS aren't annoying, okay? DPS are super annoying. I am here to defend healers because I don't think there is... You could go to anywhere in the entire world of Warcraft and ask anybody who the most bullied person in the group is in a Mythic Plus environment. Not one person will say anything other than boomkins and healers.
Oh, 1 point.
Okay.
I'm down. 2 points for boomkins and healers. We're going to get 2.
Look, being a healer in a Mythic Plus dungeon is like being a jungler in League. You will get blamed for everything, regardless of what your teammates do. It does not matter how poorly your teammates perform, how much shit they stand in, how much they int. They will always blame the healer. The healer life is miserable in Mythic Plus because of that, especially when pugging. But even in groups, go look at any VOD in the history of me playing with Nerf. and tell me that I'm not being bullied almost every 5 minutes by someone. Okay? Look, I cannot defend DPS players because I know that there are way too many annoying DPS players. But lumping in the healer with the DPS players is something I will defend till my grave. Okay? Healers have a terrible time in Mythic Plus. Tanks will pull regardless of mana.
Another point.
Have you ever played with a Disc Priest? All right. I watched Mode in a Sanguine Depths plus 24 lose his mind because they finished the Pride, or they were about to pull the pack that was going to spawn Prideful, and he said, I need mana, and the tank just ran straight ahead and pulled every mob in the damn dungeon, and he was like, well, we wiped, and the tank yelled at Mode. He yelled at Mode
Anecdotal
for not
evidence,
healing
1 point.
him. Okay, it's insane that tanks think they're just off the hook and can do whatever they want and don't have to play around other people's CDs or have to play around other people's mana. Of course they do, because that's just being a player.
They introduced the animal power so you can eat faster, so that you solve that problem there.
Nerf's objection. Animal power for eating, 1 point.
Yeah, healers don't have that problem anymore. Infinite
I
mana.
agree.
It's like you're having the sugar-crusted fish piece again.
I agree there are some solutions that have helped us this season to the mana issue, but the mana is only one of a billion different problems, all right? Tanks are not necessarily annoying, but they do bring a whole lot of pride into Mythic Plus. They pull every dungeon the way they want and have no regard for DPS or healers situations.
1 point, so wrapping it up.
99% of the time. All right.
How many times did we have to redo a theater route because the healer didn't have the cooldowns?
You mean the very
built the route
first
around
time?
theater.
You mean the very... Oh, hold on. First off, you're done with your rebuttal, all right? Second off, you're referring to the first time we went into Theater of Pain at the very start of the expansion when Nerf pulled, and I shit you not,
Wrap it up.
a Portal Guardian into a Prideful, into a Portal Guardian, into 6 ghosts with 2 of the fucking debuff guys, into another fucking ghost with a debuff guy, into another Prideful. Back to back to back to back to back. Because his route gave no shits about healer cooldown.
All right, got heated there at the end. It sounds like some animosity unfurling out of Ellesmere. Very upset.
He made me sit there for 4 hours trying to figure out cooldowns because he wanted to do the worst route known to man. And we ended up changing the route because of course we would.
All right, with that very interesting ending round, Ellesmere somehow pulled it out over Nerf. I'm not exactly sure how. So taking
You're
that,
not exactly sure how. You're the one giving out the points.
well, I've made the rules, and he was boomkin pandering. I'm sorry, you didn't pander enough. So with that, Ellesmere, you get to move on to the final round, which is Defend the Indefensible, a 60-second speedrun round, where you will be given a statement. No matter how awful that you must defend in 60 seconds, if you can convince the host, you will be declared the champion. This week's statement is, dungeon boss fights should be as long as the Sylvanas fight, unskippable cinematic included.
My God.
Time starts now.
Look, I agree that dungeon boss fights are super, super boring right now. Everyone is the same thing over and over and over again. They're so fast that you can just skip through them with lust and popping Venthyr Boomkin cooldown. All right, it's not fun for the players. The players want an immersive experience. They want to feel like they're in an epic dungeon with huge cinematics and story arcs. And you can't do that with 1.5 minute boss fights where they just fall over. You need plot. You need something to get engaged with as a player. All right, increasing the lengths of these boss fights and making the mechanics more intricate is definitely going to increase player interest in these fights. It's going to immerse you in these dungeons, and it's going to feel like you are in the dungeon fighting for your life.
Is that the end of your point?
I only had 20 seconds. That's timed up.
All right, your time is up now. I'm going to go ahead and say I was not convinced. I was not convinced. I agree.
No one can convince you of that. No one can convince you of having a 15-minute boss fight in a dungeon. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's basically the dungeon timer right there.
That is the dungeon timer.
Yeah, like, what?
You know what?
No one wants hour-long dungeons. It's impossible. There's nothing I could have said except...
nothing. Absolutely
no, there's
nothing.
nothing. There's nothing.
However,
It's impossible.
that's going to be the end of this week's Disrespect the 1v1. Thank you so much, Ellesmere and Nerf, for coming. We unfortunately were not able to declare a champion, but had some interesting moments for sure. We will see you guys in the next video, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye!